Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of the Katie Chronicles. I'm Katie, and I'll be here to share the awkward, the raunchy, and the downright weird aspects of life. From first dates to awkward sex, here we will discuss it all. We'll include cringey confessions and have real conversations. So tonight's episode is on first dates. Yeah, we have all been there. Who in this stream has had a cringy, awkward, or embarrassing date? Or, on the other hand, you could have met your soulmate on Tinder. Hopefully, we'll all be able to relate and have a laugh together. Okay? So, welcome in if you haven't seen any of my content before. So, I'm streaming on Just Chatting, aren't I? But basically, I'm an introverted COD streamer and I'm trying to host a full-blown podcast. So basically, I've swapped kill streaks for oversharing and trauma dumping right here, right now. But I suppose that's growth if you ask me, isn't it? So buckle up, grab your drink and get ready to cringe, laugh and maybe even learn a thing or two. Don't be shy, guys. Please actually drop your stories and your questions in chat because I want to hear all about your first date disasters, okay? So I'm going to acknowledge any follows or subs that I get at the end of this episode as, yeah, I need to try and keep this ADHD brain on track, guys, okay? But I hope we're all doing good. Let's get into it. Episode 1, first dates. Okay, so... Pelican says, I've never had a single swipe right on Tinder. Well, we'll fix that. Maybe I can help you on a different episode. So, let's deep dive into it, and let me start by sharing one of the awkward first dates I've been on. So if you aren't aware, guys, I'm recently single, and I've been back on the dating apps myself. So at this point, I'm not even looking for a soulmate. I'm just hoping for someone who isn't like allergic to commitment, like most people seem to be, or soap. Yep, you definitely heard that right. I recently had a second date with someone who I'm pretty sure didn't wash their bed sheets in about 2 years. I saw the state of his sheets and I thought, if this is where you sleep, I don't even want to know where you have a wank, to be honest. It's pretty gross. But how did I get to this stage of the guy who didn't being on a second date with the guy who didn't wash his bed sheets in 2 years? Well, I gave him another shot, essentially, after an awkward first date. So let's call you Steve, okay? I hope you're not actually watching this, Steve. Or then again, maybe you can get date number 3 off someone if you actually wash your bed in. And if that happens, you know, you can thank me later. Right, date 1 with Steve, okay? So I met Steve on Tinder. And first of all, there was something about his bio, right? Big up Steve, Taz, big up Steve. Yeah, so there was something about his bio, right? And I wasn't sure if he wrote it using ChatGPT or if it was just like autistic or something. But either way, right, I gave this guy a shot, okay? I gave Steve a shot because he stood out from the crowd. And by that, I mean he wasn't one of those people who's like super self-absorbed and, you know, then they act confused when the conversation dies. So I'm sure we've all been there. You know, you're saying hey to someone, how are you? And there's absolutely nothing, okay? You ask them how they are, you're asking them what they do for a living, what their interests are, and they're just boring, okay? So 12 questions later, they don't ask you a single thing back. And yeah, I basically had more stimulating conversations with my vibrator, and yeah, that actually hums with a bit of interest, I suppose, unlike all these people on Tinder. So anyway, okay, Steve, he was quite talkative, which is a good thing, okay? I also spoke to him on the phone for several hours, okay, before our first date. Chat, says Jacob. So I spoke to Steve for several hours, right, guys? He seemed kind of charming, I thought. He seemed kind, you know. I thought he could be a gem. He was separated from his partner. He sounded like a nice guy, okay? And I thought, he might be a bit of me, okay? What was funny, Taz? Okay, so during the date, though, it became clear that this was a delusion. He wasn't going to be the man for me. Okay, um, he genuinely, okay, confirmed to me that he wrote his Tinder bio using Chat GBT. Right? Okay, so he confirmed this. So that wasn't his authentic self. The jury's still out on whether he's got autism, though. I'm not sure. And red flag number 2. Right? Okay, right. This is the red flag. He told me the worst joke of all time. Okay, I'm going to spare you the cringe. I cannot even say it, but his joke was literally so long-winded and bad that even Stephen Hawking would have got up out of his wheelchair and ran off. Okay? It was literally so awful. So, but you know what? I was in two minds to to meet up with Steve again. I questioned his sense of humour, but I thought, what have I got to lose? And we actually had a really lovely time together on the second date until he confessed to me that he'd cheat in a relationship or a marriage if he was never found out. Okay, so that coupled with his bed sheets smelling like musk and chronic masturbation, that was the final nail in the coffin. Okay, yeah, let's not big up Steve, Taz. I'm too old to settle for less than I want. So what do you think of Steve, guys? Should I have given Steve another chance, a third date, or was it too much? Was it too much? Jacob says bad Steve. What about everyone else? Taz says don't big up Steve. What a Bell. Bell says Angel, I know. So I also want to know, okay, naughty Steve. Thanks, Angel. Steve Tier. I want to know what's the most awkward or hilarious thing that's happened to you on a first date. Go on, you can hit me up in the chat or you can drop a message and I might read it out later on. If you actually want to, yeah, just type it in the chat. I might have a mod who's looking through, gathering any good comments up. Right, okay. So, moving on now. Okay. I started something here. Telling to get a cleaner first. Yes, buzzing B1234. Thank you very much for the first time chat. Tell him to get a cleaner first. Steve, go and get a cleaner, darling. You might get your dick sucked then. Right. Right, 1 second, guys. So, okay. So this is now it's time for Sister Katie's Confession Corner. Okay, so here I'm going to read out confessions from my lovely community. This is, guys, this is stories that you've sent to me. Okay. So first up, this is one for my friend. I know he's in the chat right now. I'm not going to name names, but I do know him personally, okay? And believe me, I have seen, I have seen the pictures. Taz is saying, Sister Katie, for I have sinned. Okay, yeah. So, this is a true story. I've seen the pictures, guys. Okay. From Tinder to tragedy. A tale of peas, passion and public humiliation. Dear Sister Katie, after moving to a new area, I decided to dip my toe into the local dating pool via Tinder. A few swipes in, I matched with a girl who seemed lovely. Local, chatty, and we actually clicked pretty quickly. Okay. We messaged for about 2 weeks, nerves are building until we finally set a date. I'd pick her up on Saturday morning, take her on a countryside drive, followed by a lakeside walk. This sounds romantic, right, doesn't it? It was. We got milkshakes, we chatted effortlessly, and by the end of the walk, things were vibing. So much so that we decided to head back to hers for some food and some drinks. Now here's where it gets messy. I suggested we go into town for a couple more drinks. Harmless idea. We ended up at Weatherspoons. While sitting at the table, we both texted our friends' updates, and that, Katie, was my fatal mistake. My loving friends asked for our table number so they could send us a drink. And oh, did they deliver. First a jug of cocktail, then another jug, then some mushy peas, then some eggs, and then 5 pints, a tray of shots, some random cocktails, and it got so out of hand that the bar staff refused to bring anything else to our table. So now my date was laughing at first, but after the 20th drink, I could see her patience dissolving faster than the ice in our cocktail jug. It was around 11 p.m. when she gently suggested we call it a night. Did I agree like a normal person? Absolutely not. I convinced her to keep the party going. I wonder who in the chat wrote this. Fast forward to 5 more pubs, a trip to a gay club. It's 5 a.m. She's dragging me into a taxi. I fall asleep drooling on her leg. Yes, romance is alive. We get to her house. I don't make it inside. Instead, I empty my stomach contents, shout out to those peas, on her front lawn. Okay. I eventually crawl upstairs and collapse into bed. Is it over? Absolutely not, because I wake up to find her next to me, rubbing herself and asking if I'm up for some fun now. Being the absolute soldier I am, I somehow mount a valiant effort, a passionate 30 seconds before I pass out cold. The next morning I wake up dazed, confused, with mild PTSD. I sheepishly tiptoe downstairs, and there she is, guys, waiting with a cup of tea. Katie, I don't know what spell I cast, but she actually wanted a second date. True love might just smell like vodka, mushy peas, and desperation. Right, so what do we think, guys? Is this person a hero or a zero? Is this key to a successful date, or would you run a mile? What do people think about that story? Fat Boy says hero. Angel says wifey material she is. So yeah, she's done good putting up with him. Especially, you know, with a cup of tea in the morning. Legendary, says Fat Boy. Taz says he defo is a hero. Okay, so we're going hero there. I mean, I personally don't condone drinking your own body weight in alcohol, maybe. Prediction is hero. Okay, the imaginary prediction is that we're going with this person's an absolute hero for doing that. I want to know, though. Yeah, he must have been amazing for 30 seconds. Exactly, was he be? He must have had a magic cock. Gets the nerves out of the way. It does. Would you guys? So if that happened to you guys, would you go on date number 2 though? That's what I want to know. Few people in the chat that happened to you. Angel says yes. Taz says must have been the best 30 seconds. Yeah, best 30 seconds ever. Yeah, so you can remember it, says Fat Boy. I suppose it could be worse. What's the question again, says what father? Would you go on a second date after that? Would you give that person a chance? Would I? I think that's a very good question. Would I, Fat Boy? I think I would just be as culpable as he was, so yeah. Why not? Maybe wouldn't see husband material with someone, but it sure sounds like a fun night. Right, anyway. Now for confession number 2, guys. Okay. So, dear sister Katie, I met a bird at her house. Some of you actually might remember this because someone said it in chat the other day. So I met a bird at her house. We chilled and then got it on. I really wasn't enjoying it, and luckily I heard a thud on the door. It was my driving instructor. I forgot I told him to pick me up from hers. Why wasn't I enjoying it? It was just horror. She goes down on me and was very teethy. She got on top. I was bending it the wrong way, and yeah, it was not good. I don't know how you bend it the wrong way, but yeah, it doesn't sound great, does it? The worst thing was I ended up getting with her because I felt bad about fucking and chucking and spent a month together. Sex for the next month was purely missionary and doggy, where I was in control. I was brought up as a gentleman, and slipping then dipping did not seem like the gentlemanly thing to do. Right, chat. So what's the verdict? Do we forgive this man for his sins? Do we forgive him? Yes, says Fat Boy. Team player. You took one for the team. What does everyone else think? You don't forgive him, what, Father? Why not? No excuse for teeth, says Pelican. He's a naughty boy, said Jacob. Well, I mean, forgive him. He's member got cheated, says Bussinby. Yeah, it sounds like he went for a round of a beaver. What I want to know is, I don't know if this person's in chat tonight, but I want to know if the blowjobs got better over that course of the month when they were together. Taz says, in the name of the Father, yes, I forgive him. What Father says he didn't have to have sex with her. He could have created another problem for himself. Yeah, he did. No, he created another problem for himself. He did. He did. I think he should have fucked and chucked after he got his dick nearly bitten off. I don't have a penis, but I can imagine that wasn't very nice. Does anyone have any stories anyway? Surely some of you guys in the chat have some date stories. It don't even have to be a first date, second date, third date, where things just weren't as you thought. Right. What is happening, says Pandavis. This is a little podcast. I told you, this is a podcast. The Katie Chronicles. This is the first episode. This is the first episode, and it's on first dates. Yeah, come on, share the stories. We want to hear them. Who is that nun? That is me. This is Sister Katie's confession corner, Joe. You're going to confess your sins to me, okay? And I'm going to decide if you should be forgiven. Yeah, Sister Katie. You have no sins. Right, okay. Do we fancy a little game now, guys? Do we fancy a little game? Ooh, you can see me. Very blue now. Okay, right. So. Jacob seems up for it. Right, okay. Okay. I just seen a comment from Joe. I'm going to need some more information on that. Type it in the chat. So let's go for this game. Okay. So, okay. The game is called First Date. Red flag or green flag? Do you see the little flags on the screen? Okay. So here's how it works, okay? I'm going to throw out a classic dating scenario, and you in the chat tell me, is it a red flag or a green flag? I don't know if you can see any, if you have any red or green emojis, or you can just simply type red flag or green flag, but I really want to hear it, okay? So you need to get the fingers ready, because I want quick fire opinions. I don't want any fence sitting, right? We're going to go now, okay? Okay? If people have said something in the chat, I'm going to leave that till a little bit later and then read it out. Okay. So, they talk about their ex. What do we think about this, guys? Okay. Is this a sign of emotional maturity or in the need of a therapy session if they talk about their ex on a first date? Okay. Ooh. So we've got actually different opinions here, guys. Red, green, red, green, red, 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 red. We've got a couple greens here, guys. So the ones who are saying green flag, like, why? We got an I don't care. Red flag, says Connor, because it's not really a first date convo. Yeah, I think it depends, doesn't it, on like the. Oh, on a first date. Yeah, on a first date, or, when you're getting to know them. Well, you missed that bit. Where have you been? Have you been tabbed out on Pornhub or something? First dates? Look, it's been on the screen there the whole time. First dates. Right. Red flag. He's changed his opinion. So he was the one person now then that said green flag. Oh, Joe said green, didn't he? If the ex was in your life for a long time and it's happened recently, then I don't blame that person for talking about them. Okay, well, to be fair though, I think it depends on like the situation, doesn't it? And if someone's just like acknowledging their ex, like, oh, I learned from that last relationship XYZ, but yeah, generally speaking, if someone's like, oh, my ex was like talking about the profession and their favourite food and this, yeah, as you say, it's probably a sign that they're not over them, as someone said. Right, okay, let's move on to the second one now then. What do we think of this, guys? They respond to DMs instantly. Okay, so this is a scenario, guys, where you're getting to know someone, you haven't yet gone. Right, you haven't yet gone on a date, okay, but you're getting to know them, okay? You might have matched with them on a dating site, or you've met them online, okay? But they like, you send a message, and literally within 10 seconds, they've read it and responded. What are we saying? Red flag, green flag. A lot of red flags coming in. Joe says red as fuck. Fat Boy's got a red flag. Keith's got a red. What about anyone else? Anyone think it's a green? Do you think it's a green flag, Buzzing Bee? Could be a coincidence once. Jacob says it's a green flag. Okay. Is this on a date or from dating apps? No, so this is someone you're talking to before you're going to go on a first date. Fat Boy. Lugs is indifferent. Lugs says, I wouldn't say it's a red flag, but it's also not a green flag. Okay. If it happens multiple times, different. So this is a scenario, okay? You're there, you're at work, you see you've got a message from them, you respond a couple of hours later because you know you're doing life things, and then they respond literally, they read it and ASAP and respond like all the time. Yes, because they're showing they're keen. Okay, Buzzing Bee thinks it's a sign of being keen. Green flag, says Taz. Keith says it's desperate and stalky. This is so strange, isn't it? How so many people have different ideas then of what's a red or a green flag. This one's actually very, yeah. I don't think there's a clear answer on this. It's 100% an ick, says Fat Boy. Really? Even if I'm not busy, I'll respond in like an hour. Okay, so from my perspective, this is a very mixed response, Jacob. So my perspective of this, My perspective of this, right, guys, is if someone, I don't, I think a bit of both. I think it's nice. You know, when you're like in that talking stage with someone and you're laying in bed at night and you're both just like rapid messaging each other on WhatsApp or something, that's quite nice, isn't it? But if it's all the time, yeah, obviously, like, I wouldn't like someone to expect that I reply to them straight away if I'm busy or something. Like, I can go hours without messaging people, like when I'm because they're streaming or something, but I also wouldn't want someone to just keep me waiting for hours just from the principle. Like Joe said, even if I'm not busy, I'll respond in like an hour. Fat Boy says, never instant, leave a time between each message. If conversation is flowing, it's sound. If it's just shy talk, nah, fuck the instant. Okay, right. Let's try another one now then. They've been single for more than 3 years. What do you think about this? Is this a red flag or is this a green flag, guys? They've been single for more than 3 years. Ooh, mixed response again. John Boy says neither flag. Buzzing Bee says red flag. Okay. Fat Boy says green. Green flag. Some people take down to heel green. The only person that said it's a red flag is Buzzing Bee. Depends why they've been single. Yeah, I think this one is a bit of a strange one. Because I think it, red flag if they've been in jail for 3 years, says Jacob. You don't know, do you? Red flag, says Angel. I mean, for me, it would depend. Is it because they're scared of commitment? Okay. Is that why they've been single for 3 years? Or is it because they've been happy by themselves and they haven't felt the need to have someone? I think it all depends on the context and the reasoning behind being single for more than 3 years. Yeah, exactly. If it's, as Fat Boy says, they know what they want and they're settling and they're not settling for less, I think that's good. Buzzing Bee says, why are they single for 3 years? Have they been in jail? Well, okay, so you and Jacob think alike here, unless they've been in jail. Liam says, have they been getting their shit together before settling down, or have they just been living the whole life? Well, who knows? But most people think it's a green flag. I've been single for a couple years before, because I felt like I didn't need to have somebody. And that was nice. I did a lot of personal growth. It showed me that I wasn't going to settle for someone that didn't meet my, um, you know, that didn't have everything I wanted in a person. But then you can't wait forever because that true person may, like, your ideal person really may not exist. 3 years single is definitely more of a green flag than multiple relationships within 3 years. I agree with that, Wes. I agree with that, Wes. Boosted says weirdest game of Warzone ever. Good thing I'm on the just chatting category then, Boost today. Yes, there is a lot of context. There is a lot of context there. Right, okay, on to the next one now. So is it a red flag or a green flag, guys, if they kiss on the first date? They want a kiss on the first date. Is this romantic move too soon? Is it too sleazy? Is it sexy? What do we think, guys? I'm so middle of the road on all of these. Nathan says green, love it. Green as long as it's not a Glasgow one. Context again. What do you mean the context? You've had a first date and they want a kiss. Is that a green flag or a red flag? Has anyone been on a first date and you've had a kiss and it's been really awful? Sometimes you have to build tension though. No. Yeah, John, exactly. What, keep them guessing a bit? Looks as if you don't get a kiss, you were shit on the date. I've had first dates with people who I've not kissed them. For sure. Even if I've liked them, I've not kissed them. When was that, Katie? When you were 14? Uh, no. That boy says, I've kissed a few that have been shocking and I pulled away. Well, if any of you have got any minging kissing stories, please put them in the chat and we can read them out later on. So get them in there. Okay. Lug says, I've been on a date where the woman went to kiss me and I wasn't feeling it and swerved it. Really? Really? Jacob says, my first date, the kiss was amazing. It was the fact it was my uncle was weird. You missed the confession corner segment there, Jacob. Sister Katie will hear about it after the podcast. Hello, Pete. Hello, Pete. Right. Anyway, so moving on then. What about? So this is the last one here. Sex on the first date. Okay. So if they want sex on the first date, is this a passionate connection or is this a walking red flag with a libido? Okay. What do we think, guys? I'm game. Green, says Fat Boy. Again, similar to the first one. If the vibe's there, yep. How long you been talking pre-date? I don't know. Dirty. Dirty, said Buzzing Bee. So it's a red flag if they have sex in the first date. Fat Boy says she's game, I'm game. It's gonna be like the fucking Discovery. You and me, baby, ain't nothing. Okay. So let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel, basically. If they happy and we had a laugh all day, up for it. Lug says if the chemistry is there, green flag. If they have asked me, even though it wasn't a great date, red flag. Keith's Connor says instant red flag for me as it's both party consent situation and shouldn't be brought up on the first date. Okay. Keith says it depends if you're serious. Serious dating, then it's not for me. If you're just meeting up and seeing what happens, why not? See, that's a very good point because then that goes on to this other topic, doesn't it? Okay. If you were to have if you were to have a first date and you got a shag out of it, would you see yourself wanting a relationship with that person? Would that person be relationship material to you? Fat Boy says, I've had a few that have gone this way and I got with them for a few years. Not always the case. They're a slag. Alright, okay. It's not always the case. John Boy says it doesn't affect his opinion. That's surprising. I would have thought a man would think that a woman was a bit promiscuous, so to speak, if she had sex on the first date. Yes, can be, but still. But then I think you just end up shagging for weeks and months without getting to know each other properly, says Keith. Sloppy toppy. What's that? Fat boy. Okay, again, most of you, I think you're just horny men, okay, and you all want to shag on the first date. Fat boy says, hot tour on that thing. Right. Okay. So, Angel says, I would rather get to know the person before getting them into bed so they don't read the wrong messages. See, okay, I would say no to sex on the first date. Sometimes no to a kiss on the first date. For me, I want an emotional connection with somebody. Yeah, exactly. If both are up for a bit of a fun, then sure, but it's just everyone has different opinions, don't they, of what they want. Keith says, if I really like someone and think it could be serious, then I'd go full 40-yard version. Oh, would you? Would you wait for the 10th date? That's actually an interesting question. What's the limit, guys, of how many dates you'd go on before, it was like, okay, we've not had sex yet, we've been dating for X amount of time, or we've had this amount of dates, and okay, so say you're going on one date a week, guys, okay, right? On a Friday night, you're seeing the person once a week. How many dates or how many weeks until you're like, right, we haven't done anything yet. I've kissed her, but I've not shagged her or him. I don't want any more to this. Peliquin says demisexual need a connection to be attracted. Ooh, okay. 3 dates says Lugs, 2 or 3 says Bandit. I would wait long if it's special. 3 to 5, Fat Boy. 3 dates. So everyone's saying 3 days. What? So you wouldn't want to wait more than 3 days? Would you be put off, guys, if say someone made you wanna if they wanted to do it on the 6th date or something? Yeah, I think 3's nothing either. Pete says, if I liked the person we clicked, I'd wait till she was ready. It's very interesting, isn't it? Because that's like I suppose are we kind of programmed into thinking that way? It's definitely like a social construct in a way, isn't it? Like, third date is you date 1, you go out for a drink. Date 2, I don't know, you go out for a day date. And date 3 is at the person's house and you get it on. 6 is sound, says Taz. But the question was, what's the longest you'd wait, though? Not the ideal one. What's the longest you'd wait? Keith says, I find it best to just talk about it, see where we both are, what we both want from us dating. Fat Vice is 3 months. You'd wait 3 months. So 12 weeks. 12 dates. Lug says, if it's a date a week, then 3 weeks. If I haven't got anything by then, I doubt I would go anywhere. So you give them 3 weeks. One month, says Buzzing Bee. Okay, so 4 dates. If you've not had sex after 4 dates, says Buzzing Bee, that's it. As long as either person's comfortable with it's fine, as long as it's discussed. Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, 3 weeks all other people were saying they wouldn't like a woman who slept in the first date. Exactly. Yep, Keith. Wes says, might sound bad, but if the girl makes me pay every day, there is definitely a limit on dates. But it's more equal, I wouldn't care how many dates. That's an interesting one. I don't have a prompt for this, but what do we think about paying on dates? I think we've got more men in the chat, haven't we, watching this than women. So let me give you a scenario. Say you were to take a woman out. What's happening with the bill? What's happening with the payment? 60-60 for the tip. Keith likes to give him a bit of the tip, doesn't he? You dirty boy. First date the man, the rest 50-50, says Fat Boy. Everyone's going 50-50. Oh, some people... He pays first date, says, hey, Katie. He pays first date, I pay second date. 50-50, 50-50. Yeah, so when that happens to... When I'm on a date, I always insist on... It depends, actually. I normally go for drinks on a first date. I'll get a first round and they get a second round. Then I'll get another round. Pretty equal. Oh. Lug says I've always paid for the dates. Well, you don't have to pay for many dates if you bin them off if they've not shagged you on the third date. But what kind of price are you spending on these dates? Is it just like a coffee? So 50-50, you guys say. So you say 50-50, but what point would you want it to be 50-50? What if it's just like a coffee? Because like... Angel says, see, I am old-fashioned due to the fact all the dates I go on I pay because I don't like the lady to pay. Ooh, okay. Then Nathan said, question is, would you get mad if someone accepted you saying you'll pay? No? I won't get mad. I normally do. I'll normally say about 3 times. I'll pay. No, I'll pay. Do you know what I mean? I think that's fair enough, Wes. Sometimes whoever asks will offer to pay. Oh, really? I wouldn't pay for 100% of a first date. It depends what it was, actually. If it was just a drink or coffee, then yeah. Do you know what I mean? If it was just a drink or a coffee, then I'd pay for 100% of it. Or something like that, but if it was a first date. Then again, I suppose that's different if you're in... I suppose that would depend if I was on a date with a woman or a man. Because if I was on a first date with a man, okay, about splitting the bill, I'd split the bill, okay? Like, I'd rather split the bill and keep it equal because also I think I wouldn't want someone to have that expectation like, oh, okay, I paid for your drinks all evening. That means you owe me. So I think it's better if it's a first date to just split it. You don't owe anyone anything then. Then I suppose that's different if that's, for example, I was to go on a date with a woman or something, because the whole gender man paying thing goes straight out the window though. Buzzing B says, I paid for my first date because I thought he was on the dole. It turned out he was just a Yorkshireman. Oh yeah, the type. Thank you for the first time chat, Rob. You say whoever's asked who on the date, that person pays. Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. To be frank, my friends from Yorkshire always say they have no money. Exactly, Keith. Tight. Oh yeah, you just did Nathan dirty there, Buzzing V. Is it true though, Bandit? Is it true? Who else have we got from Yorkshire in here? Mr. Nocty says, I don't like your community anymore, Katie. Why, are you offended because you're from Yorkshire? To be fair, there is definitely that stereotype there, isn't there? That people from Yorkshire are tight with the money. Okay, so now paying is part of the courting game, says. Just because it's an old tradition doesn't mean it's bad. No, it's not bad. It isn't a bad thing. Key says, I'm only joking. They pay their own way, but they do love to joke about it. Wes says, I know the bartender really well at one of my local pubs, so I usually get close to 50% discount, and then the girl pays for the more expensive drinks at the next place. She thinks I spent more at the other place, but I didn't. Wes! That's funny. You did end up marrying him. Oh, did you? Did he turn out to be tight then? Buzzing bee. Jacob says it's 2025. Money should be discussed before dates. In what regard, Jacob? Keith says it's bad to think women who have sex on the first date aren't worth dating. It is a bad thought. Like obviously there is this. It's like it is double standards, isn't it? Because like people may think a woman's, say, promiscuous for doing so, whereas a man who was to have sex on a first date is, a lad, a lad, a lad. Don't go somewhere expensive if one can't afford it. Okay, has anyone actually had that scenario, okay, where you've been on a date, okay, and the person's expected you to pay for it? Has anyone had that? 'Cause I think there's also things at the moment, isn't there? Not at the moment, but it's definitely been more of a recent thing, isn't it? Where like women may use men for dates to just get some free food out of it. Has anyone experienced that? Creative says, funny how being tight is as bad as a man, but as a woman, ooh. True that. Mr. Nocty says, I think sex on a first date is just an easy fuck for anyone and not actually looking long term. Hey, Darcy, you had me at free food. When's the date? Would anyone do that? Would anyone? Okay, we've got some girls in the chat here. Darcy, OMG, it's Katie. Would you guys have? Would you guys ever? I know, like Darcy, you're in a relationship and stuff, but if you were single, would you go out on a date for some free food or something? Lug says I've been on a date. I on a date with a woman, and she ordered the more expensive items, and then didn't offer to pay her way. Ooh. And Fat Boy says, yes, I paid it because I'm a gent, but I walked off and never talked to her again. See, that's an interesting one. So if I know someone's going to like pay for me to go out for dinner or something, which I don't like to do on a first date, I think drinks, keep it casual on a first date. I think date number two, you might get some dinner. If they said they'd pay for the date, um, where's my train of thoughts? I'm sorry. Something popped up on my screen. Oh yeah, so save reserved dinner dates for number two, for date number two. But I never go for expensive things. I'd go for like one of the cheaper things on the menu if I know they're paying. Like I wouldn't pay. Like I don't know. I'd feel really bad. He says, I never want to go somewhere expensive on a first date or do something they can't afford. What do you consider expensive? What's like the max you'd pay for a first date, guys? Having to pretend to be interested for the sake of food. I'll buy my own food. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, no, but some people do that, Darcy. Some people do it. Who's a tight Calvers in me? Oh, you mean the person who just wanted a free food? I think keep it cheap. You're there for someone's time or company, not money. Exactly. £10 date. Jacob says £5 date. I paid £100 before for the both of you, so £50 each. Angel says the worst thing if I take a woman on a date, they can order anything on the menu and still pay because I wouldn't want them to feel uncomfortable. I want to think they have to buy the cheaper option. Oh, really? I think there's definitely like he's Lando Norris, Darcy. Most I have paid is £95. Is that for the both of you again? First dates. Jeremy says first dates are 250 to 500 plus. What? Connor says I actually had an experience like that. So this was when I was at college, but I dated this girl who you don't have to say his name, but her name was okay, and she was ever wanted to. She not relationship was to go for food, so nothing other than that. Excuse me. You shit canned her, telling her this is a dictatorship and not this is a dictatorship, not a relationship. Yeah, you can't just have one person paying for everything, can you? Oh, Formula One driver. You like to kick fast, Darcy, don't you, you dirty bitch? I wouldn't like to go over £200 on a first date. £200? That's a lot of money to be spending. £200? Where are we going on the first date, Jeremy? Woo! Pay for me to fly out to the States with that. Are you all serial dating or dating with a purpose? Well, it depends, doesn't it? And Katie says, imagine asking who's Lando Norris. I don't watch F1. Stop shaming me, Katie. This girl in our gang, okay, says Creative, met a millionaire and now her Insta and everything is full of exotic meals, travels, and everyone automatically looks down on her. Jealousy is all around. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's a. So is the millionaire is it someone that otherwise? Right. Okay. This is a question then. Here, Creative. If your this girl, your friend, if her partner wasn't rich, wasn't a millionaire, would your friend still be with him? Jacob says milkshake and a night out is a good first date. Ooh, that sounds like that confession before. I wonder. I wonder how much that person spent. You know, when on that date when they said there was a whole date array going from milkshake and I'd walk around the lake to getting absolutely levered and going to a gay bar and getting shots and pints. I wonder how much that cost. Wes says 1,000 Swedish crowns is my limit. What's that equate to? The Great British Pound. Darcy says my first date with my other half was night in Newcastle with Crazy Golf and Miller and Carter. It was about £500 all in. £500. So how did that work then, Darcy? And was it just like how long have you been talking to your other half for? Did you split the bill? What happened? That's mad. Cocktail bars ain't cheap, says Lugs. Why don't you take the spoons? Fat Boy says, wouldn't mind me a sugar mama. Angel says it's one of them, though. If you get food that costs, say, £80 and then drinks after, or an activity like bowling or mini golf, it adds up to £200 is likely. Yeah, you're right about that. It's actually really expensive to go out these days, isn't it? It's like really expensive, guys, to like date. It's expensive to live, let alone date. So yeah, if you're going for food, say, I don't know, I can't imagine you southerners, because up north you're looking about, what, cheap now is about £15 a main, a minimum. £15 to £20 a main. That's 40. A pint's about £6. What was that, £300, says Jacob? Was that split then? I have no reason to think she's attracted by his money. Oh really? Creative. Okay then. What we talking about, says Lone Legend. We're talking about first dates at the moment. Does anyone in the chat have anyone who's joined me who hasn't been here from the beginning? Do we have any funny stories, awkward stories about dates you've been on? May have happened on the first date, the second date, the third date. Anything you want to be read out to the group, guys? He lives 4 hours away. That's why it's a big thing. How long were you talking to him for then, Darcy, before you met up? Keith says, I took someone on a picnic in a park once. That wasn't expensive. That sounds cute, that. I'd rate that. Connor says, I can confirm that was my first and last awkward first date. I think all of us are going to have had an awkward first date. And if you haven't and you're married or something, then lucky you. Lucky you. Lucky you. I just hope I don't have to date many more Steves until I find my forever person. I offered to take a lass to Toby for like a 2 to 3 date, and you would think I shot a nan with the look she pulled me. Oh, so okay. So LJ says, I offered to take a lass to Toby Carvery for it was like the second or the third date, and you'd think I shot her nan with the look she pulled me. Ended up in Spoon, spent a similar amount, called her pretentious, and we split. Okay. There's nothing wrong with Toby Carvery. They're good, those. It depends, though, to be fair. If someone said to me on a first date, do you want to go to Toby Carvery? I'd be a bit like, well, it's not the most romantic of places, is it? I mean, what would you think, guys? Okay, girls in the chat, what would you think if a man took you to Toby Carvery on the first date? What are we saying? Where's that cheeky? Last time we went mini golf on a date, I paid for golf but said the loser pays for drinks. No way, I'm losing. That's cheeky, that. He said I fainted on a first date once. That was fun. What? How? No, we're trying something different today, Edvinas. This is my first ever podcast, the Katie Chronicles. We met on Discord a COD, Darcy. Ooh, sounds like what I end up doing. How long have you been with your partner now, then? Lug says, my last first date, we went strawberry picking and then made something with a chef there, the drinks after. That sounds really like a lovely date, to be fair. Darcy says it's awkward as I need something that is gluten-free. It is quite difficult trying to get gluten-free, isn't it? But the good thing is, though, that a lot of places, like, I think chain restaurants are better for that, aren't they? Creative says, I had fun with a girl and we texted afterwards and planned a second date. But I was so drunk that I didn't recognise her and walked right past her. There was no third date. Was she as pretty as you remembered though, Creative? 9 years. Oh wow, says Lugs. We've been together for 9 years. So it's worth the... So that was a strawberry picking date. Right. I need to hear about the story about the... on the first date. Spoons for me is a no on a first date, says Peliquin. Someone took me to spoons on a first date when I was like... Oh, I was like... I feel like I was like 19 or something, and someone wanted to... This is just a spill the chat. Sorry, I'll move the screen back to this so you get to see me in bigger thing. But this is basically what we've been talking about. This spill the chat segment. Okay, this is just talking about the juiciest comments of the evening, which is what we've been doing. Talking about, so for example, Keith fainting on a first date. So Keith said, I fainted as it was crazy hot day and the restaurant was even hotter. She had to take me to A&E and waited over an hour for my brother to turn up. She had to pay for everything as this was still chip and pin and I couldn't remember my pin. Was there a second date, Keith? Did you marry her? Like, what's going on? She sounds like a really nice, caring person. That sounds like wifey material to me. Nathan says, I think a walk or a hike is a good icebreaker. What's everyone's ideal first date then, guys? Okay. Spill the chat, so to speak. Everyone put your best first date, or ideal first date. My ideal first date, guys, okay, is a nice long walk or a little hike. Then... yeah, maybe a coffee or a pint or something like that afterwards, after the walk. I think that's nice. You're active. It's not as awkward as just sitting there. Would women go on a hike for a first date? Be safer with a bear, says Keith. A good point, actually. Good point. Yeah, I say it would be my ideal date, but I haven't really gone on a walking date with someone. I went on a walking date, a first date actually a few weeks ago, and I went for a 5 mile walk, but that was with a woman, so I was perhaps felt safer. And if it was a man, it would also depend though. So I tend to like to get to know people for quite a while before I like meet up with someone. I don't know if that's just because I end up meeting men online or on COD or whatever. Walking and talking is cute, Darcy. Right, anyway. Let's... Apparently, I've been live for over an hour now, so it's going good for the first episode, isn't it? So let's go into the last thing now. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Okay? It's time to wrap it up, like I'm sure some of you dirty boys in the chat should have done. Has anyone made the mistake of not wrapping it up on a first date? Time to wrap it up, guys. Safety first. But no, honestly, a massive thank you for hanging out with me tonight and for sharing your hilarious, awkward, stories. For example, that first date involving mushy peas and 30 seconds worth of sex. Connor says, my ideal first date would be going to bowling as it allows to get to know the person as well as go to a bar to continue the date. That is good. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Anyway, I will probably be ending my stream here for this podcast, but I will go live again soon if anyone wants to watch me play COD. Does anyone want to watch me play COD? Does anyone want to watch me? But yeah, I just want to thank you all for being here for my first episode. And yeah, if you haven't seen me before, if you're new from the Just Chatting category, then welcome to the madness. So I'm going to be back again next week. Hello, Nine King. You've just missed it, you naughty, naughty, naughty boy. You missed the you guys, right? If you're late to the party, you can watch the podcast. You can watch the episode back. Okay. So next week, same time, same place. Twitch. What is that about, creative? Twitch, 8 p.m. next Thursday, and where we're going to be diving head first into the world of marriage. The good, the bad, and the straight up what the fuck. Okay, that's what the topic's going to be next week. I don't know if any of you have seen me post on my Discord server saying, has anyone got any stories? But this is what we're going to be talking about. And I may be joined by a guest or two. You need to brace yourselves to that, guys. It's going to be a juicy one. It is going to be a juicy one. If you thought today's is interesting. Darcy says, my dad's got some stories. He left his second wife for a 21-year-old. Right, I need to hear this, Darcy. You're going to have to send me them DMs, girls. And we're going to have to read some of these out, because that is mad. That is mad. But that's what's going to happen next week. Marriage. The good, the bad, and the what the fuck. And there's going to be some what the fucks next week. I can assure you this. Special guest, you say? Says Taz. Special... Yes. Katie won't mind sliding into your DMs. Whose DMs? But yeah. Darcy says she's 25 now. Oh, they're still together? And Darcy's 30. Right, you're going to have to tell me all about that. And I can anonymously, if you want me to, talk about that next week. But now the chat's really invested in this story, because now Keith wants to know. Keith wants to know how they met. They met at Asda. Have we enjoyed today's episode, though, guys? Have we enjoyed the first episode of the Katie Chronicles? Have we enjoyed it? Would we like... Would we like another episode then? Next week, we're going to hear about Darcy's dad meeting his partner on the Asda deli counter. I heard she was good at handling sausage. Isn't that right, Darcy? Is her dad the guest? Well, maybe maybe we can arrange that. But yeah, episode next week, 8 p.m. Twitch, the same place. I'm gonna she was a master in fake meat. I'm gonna turn my stream off, guys. I'm gonna go. Oh, thank you, Darcy. Oh, and by the way, guys, if anyone here streams and would like to co-host an episode with me, you can hit me up. I would like to... Maybe you can get involved one time, Darcy, if you want it. But yeah, it'd be nice to have a different streamer on each episode of me to help co-host. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. See you next week. And yeah, remember to wrap it up.